2 and 1. Yo.
What's
I'm
up,
back again for
dude?
the second time tonight
Thank you.
on
Yeah,
ArmTalk, and my guest right now is Mika. Mika, what is going on?
what's going on? What's going on, Jody? I'm happy to be here. I'm not worthy, so I appreciate and I honor this invitation. I was actually just listening to the podcast with the girls talking as well, and just to piggyback a little bit, I think that honestly, you having them on does help because I was listening and I was getting to know them more, and I know Sarah Latino, of course, and I know some of the girls on there, but I think that that's a great idea to have some girls on the podcast and kind of get to know their personalities a little bit better, and it makes an interesting match. In fact, like I think when I was in, I believe it was Arizona when I watched Ray and Artem, and there was also, gosh, I can't think of her name now, Nancy.
Lear and Wilson?
Lyra, I know she's a badass, 100%. But there's other. What was the other one? The other girl that they had a war. I can't remember.
It was Paige Williams and Nancy Nations.
Yeah, exactly. Nancy Nations, Paige Williams. That was one of the best matches I've ever seen. And it's not. As a dude, I mostly watch dudes arm wrestle because I'm interested in my competition, things like that. But when I watched that match, I was like, dude, the girls can kill it. They're killing. It's entertaining, honestly. It could be a very entertaining match. So I think that if we plug them in a little bit more into these podcasts and stuff, I think that it'll definitely raise awareness around the girls and the personalities, and it'll help grow the sport for sure.
Well, that's what I plan on doing. But
You're the man.
hey, this is about you, my friend. So
thank you.
Tell me something about yourself. You were a tennis player turned arm wrestler. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, totally. I whole my life I've been training in tennis. Before tennis, interestingly, when I was like maybe 4 or 5 years old, I still remember that I was obsessed with martial arts. I was obsessed with combat sport, Bruce Lee. The two people I was obsessed with Bruce Lee and Michael Jackson. Those were like my two heroes growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And I took a karate class, and my grandmother at the time was a nurse, and I was such a nut that after that one karate class, I came home. She's like, "You can't take this kid to karate anymore. He's crazy. His heart is going out." She just like, he's too hyper. He's too nuts. And I remember I cried for like 2 weeks. I was like, "No, I want to go to karate. I want to fight. I want to jump." And unfortunately, I couldn't. But at the time, my sister was being trained. I have a brother and a sister, and my dad was training my sister in tennis. And I remember, okay, I want to play tennis because I want to beat my sister. It was all from competitive side.
Right.
And that's how it all started. So the journey for tennis was very young. I was maybe 5, 6 years old, all the way up until 17 years old. That's when I sustained an injury because I was on the route to basically pursuing it as a professional. I never got to a professional level. I got to an international ITF level. I played for the French. Basically, I was playing in France for like 3-4 years in my teenager years, and then I sustained a labrum tear, which isn't even that bad. It wasn't even a full rotator cuff tear, but it kept coming back. And then I remember at the time had moved away, and he started his life in the United States. So when I came here, I pursued tennis again after I healed, and then it just again cracked. So I quit completely for like 6-7 years, and then I started coaching. And I never thought I was going to be a coach. Like my friends were like, "Oh, why don't you coach?" I'm like, "Nah, it's not for me." But my friends, I think what happened was at the time, my girlfriend at the time gave me a tennis racket for no reason. I don't even know why she gave me a tennis racket, and I just picked it up and started training again and started having fun. And all these people started coming to me and be like, "Hey, you want to teach me a lesson?" I'm like, "No, I don't teach." So I just started giving lessons for free. And I was in a completely different field, completely different. I was like doing supervising construction, remodeling jobs, and helping my dad out. He was a general contractor. So anyway, things turned, and I started becoming a full-time tennis professional coach. And I had nothing to do with strength sports. I didn't even know arm wrestling was a thing. I had no idea about it at all. And I think about 4 years ago, I was sitting in my house, and I watched Pulling John.
Yeah.
And that movie was so amazing. I was glued to the screen from the second it started until the very last second. I was like, this is insane. Like, I need to do this sport. And as soon as it got done, I was like, Google arm wrestling. And I was trying to research, like, where can I go arm wrestle? I have to try it. And I found Devin Larratt video at Scott Mendelson's gym in Van Nuys.
Oh, there you go.
Dude, is that Van Nuys like my Van Nuys? And that's how it all started, man. I went to the gym. I can tell you even today, like I recall entering the building, and it was weird. It was like I was salivating. Like there's something visceral about it. Before I even entered the put my hand on the table, I was like, this is like something that I really, really want to do. And the rest is history. I just been obsessed ever since, and I still coach full time. I still that's full time. I love my job. I coach my kids. They're like my life, other than my family, of course. That's like my life source, and
Right.
so I still continue to do my job. Obviously, it was very difficult at first because arm wrestling, pain, right? As a beginner, it's pretty brutal. But I managed to switch. So I started coaching left-handed. I was arm wrestling right-handed, and then I got hurt right-handed. I started coaching my right hand. So I did what I could to still sustain myself in arm wrestling, and most of it was just table time when I first started. And now I'm starting to get into more weights and stuff like that.
Which is good. And when we see you on the table, and I've seen some footage of you, whether it be the King of California event, whether it be, I was there live at the Arizona State Championships earlier this year. And, you made such an impression that, correct me if I'm wrong, I thought you punched your ticket to go across the pond to Arm Wars earlier this year, but it didn't happen. What happened?
Yeah. That was a dream come true. I had made a statement about maybe a year and a half ago that if Neil Pickup would ever commentate on a match of mine, that I would be the happiest person on the block.
Yeah.
I got an unbelievable opportunity to pull there. He hit me up. He invited me. I was just ecstatic. I was so happy. Unfortunately, so what happened was when he invited me, I took it very, very seriously. So I said, okay, I've been having this elbow pain. And of course, in arm wrestling, we always have, it's very common to have elbow pain. So I didn't think much of it. I think, okay, It's just whatever. I said, I can't get into these transitional presses. I can't really hook. And if it comes down to it, because my main move is a top row, but if it comes down to it and I want to transition, I want to be able to do that because I'm facing guys that are very high caliber and I want to be a little bit more versatile. So right away, I said, you know what? I'm just going to get an MRI. I'm gonna get it checked out. And when I got it checked out, the doctor said, dude, your UCL, you're like high grade partial tear. So which means like over 50%, maybe 65, whatever it was completely torn off the ligament here.
Ooh.
He said, and I said, well, doctor, like this was 3 months out. I said, can I heal it? Can I do anything can I do stem cells, whatever I need to do? I got 3 months. He's like, unfortunately, it's just not going to work. So I was like, okay, I can go to Arm Wars and I can still arm wrestle because I've been arm wrestling on it.
Right.
And I can blow it up completely and maybe not have the best performance in my life. And probably my biggest fear, honestly, wasn't me hurting myself, even though it is my bread and butter. And it's silly that I say this because I need my arm for my living, right? But it was more like I don't want to disappoint Arm Wars and I don't want to disappoint Neil. So when I show up, I want to make sure I'm the best version of myself. I want to be the strongest. I don't want to have any excuses at all. And I want to give it my all. So I contacted Neil. I said, hey, this is the situation. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm going to try to heal as much fast as I can. And he said, listen, honestly, heal yourself, get healthy, and why don't you just come to the next one? So that's what I did. So I ended up skipping the opportunity. And ever since then, I've just been trying to heal it. So
how's it feeling these days?
So it's pretty much very, very close to being great. I can now again on it. I started to arm wrestle slowly on it. The only issue is when I get to about, so this is fine, but right at the pin pad, you see the last quarter, that starts to kind of still light up. So it's not 100%, but as you know, you're there, right? You're on pulling Uncle John, right? Is that who you're pulling?
I'm pulling Uncle John. Yes, I'll be there.
That's going to be sick. Okay, so March 23rd, so I have a few months. So I booked my ticket. Neil's like, do you want to go to March? Like,
let's go, baby. I booked mine last night.
I'm like, dude. And I sent him tickets like, dude, Jesus Christ. He's like, you're not playing games. I'm like, you have no idea how bad I want to go. So, I put in my mind that I have enough time. I spoke to my doctor. He said it's possible if I do everything correctly. So we'll see, man. I got my fingers crossed, but as of right now, we're doing it. We're going.
We're going to go there. I'm going to be in Mika's corner, everybody, just so we're all clear, because I'm like, hey, I feel like when we go over there, and I don't know who else is going, but you got two Americans going over there. And if I know Neil, it ain't just the one match, I mean, he's going to throw some killers at us. And so, we have guys who live on the west side, the west coast of the United States, are going over there. So the thing is, though, we have to like, hey, and Derek's in the house, by the way, there it is, my man. What's up, D?
I love Derek.
So when we go over there, I expect Neil to throw some some studs are at us,
Yeah.
and something I never felt before. I'm excited to go because you look at a situation where, and tell me how you feel. What everything is about arm wrestling now is opening more doors than it did before. What I mean by that is that all these organizations have something for someone. So I know for a fact I'm not king of the table,
Yeah.
material. I know I'm not East versus West material, but there's Arm Wars, maybe down the road there might be the Monster Factory, maybe Arm Gods. They're about to open up shop January 14th, by the
Yeah.
way, up in Ireland.
Yep.
So, and then, of course, you got all the other tournaments that have been there since then.
Yeah.
So I think with all these new things coming up, it gives all these arm wrestlers the opportunity to go, okay, where can I shine at? Where can I show people that, I'm a legit badass? And I'll tell you something else, and then you can go ahead and
Yeah.
feed
Yeah.
off
Yeah.
of that.
Of course.
John Tyrion, right?
Yeah.
Out of Canada.
Yes.
I got so much respect because he was the guy, honestly, in my opinion, because Arm Wars was something I've always wanted to do. I always thought that Arm Wars was like the WrestleMania of arm wrestling, right? And when you get somebody like John Tyrion, and remember earlier this year they had that thing going on that Uncle John had, the Arm Wars.
Yes.
What was it?
Savage Search.
Yeah, the Savage Search.
Yes.
And I'm thinking, okay, I put my clip in there and that kind of stuff. And so did John Tyrion. And he actually got up on that show, put the boots to, Frodo Hoagland, who's like Arm Wars mainstay.
Yeah.
And for him to do that to Frodo gave, you know what? He broke the glass ceiling for guys like you and I.
For sure.
He broke the glass. I'm thinking in forever, that guy I'm gonna have respect for because he opened the door for all of us, and I'm kind of glad he did. So there you go. What's your thoughts on that?
I agree. I think when I watched that match, I was blown away. I was like, John, who? What? What's going on? And the dude, I mean, just solid tank, and just like the confidence in which he did it, and just everything about him. Everything about him was so fun to watch, and he was so entertaining and so powerful. And it just goes to show you, you're right. I think that these platforms are such a blessing for both the athletes, but also for the arm wrestling world and the promoters. Because like you said, Savage Search, at East versus West, you have all the best athletes in the world. It's very difficult to do that. The platform at East versus West is like all the best known athletes, boom. You have to have some kind of pipeline for people to get to that level. So yeah, of course, there's tournaments, there's WAF championships and stuff like that. But Arm Wars is, to me, Arm Wars is like one of the most important platforms in terms of development of characters, development of stories. Who are these people?
Right.
Look, I'll tell you myself, I actually love watching arm wrestling, and I'm obsessed with it. And there's some athletes at East West West that I'm like, wait, who, what's going on? Let me look this guy up. So all these different, like King of the Table, Arm Wars, and East vs. West, and Arm Gods, and all these other platforms are fantastic ways to showcase athletes who we don't even know that are so badass. Like John Tyrion is a perfect example. Maybe he's not the WAF champion of the world yet. Maybe he will be one day, but he is that strong. So yeah, I agree. I think it's a fantastic platform, and I can't. That's why I'm so excited to be part of it. And I just love Neil Pickup, dude. Can you imagine him commenting deep inside, like just?
Man, I'm. You know what? And I know this is a family show, but it's rated R. But I would have a massive hard on for Neil saying deep inside with my name or your name and things like that, because I'm telling you. And I got another question. I've been saying it all year, and I want your thoughts on it.
Sure.
This year, I dubbed 2022, and I'm gonna do the same thing for 2023.
Yeah.
The year of opportunities. And what I mean by that is that, and I'll give you a couple examples. So, Arm Sports Entertainment, Arizona State Championships. You were there, right? Yeah. We saw after the actual tournament, we had to change venues, bring everything to a different venue, set up everything, and we had the pay-per-view matches, right?
Yeah.
And we saw Brent Rakers, a stud in his own right, but we saw Adam Warzinski, just put the boots to him. 3-0. Well, guess what? That opened up a door for him to go to East vs. West. Now he just whooped, who was it he beat? He just smoked him 3-0, right?
Crazy. Yeah.
Then Monster Factory. All you got to do is give somebody opportunity. So what happened? Here comes Paul Lynn. Prior to that, Paul Lynn, hey, awesome guy.
Definitely.
Lost to John Brzenk, but everyone does, right? So we don't really count that.
Yeah.
But when he pulled Ron Bath and he won, that opened the doors. So now what? Hey, he's 2-0 at East First West now. He's 2-0. So, all you need is opportunity, right?
Yeah.
So opportunity for Mika coming up. Opportunity for me coming up. It's almost like once you get that opportunity, you got to make it count because that may open doors for other stuff down the road. You know what I mean? What do you think about that?
I think if you do well in armors, you're pretty much. I mean, that's pretty legit. I mean, if you even if you don't win, but you just show a good you show a good standing of where your level is, and how you can step up to the table and how you perform. I really don't think it's even necessary that you just destroy it. Of course, everybody wants to do that. Of course, we want to win. We want to go there and just kill everybody.
Right.
But for me, going there, if I can just hang with the guys, if I win, I'm planning to. That's my plan, of course. But if I hang with the guys, if I'm there with, these guys are legit. I mean, Jody, these guys are strong. This isn't, So I mean, so we can hang and it's entertaining. I think it's a great opportunity for everybody. Yeah, I agree. And what Adam did was what the hell. But I met Adam. Dude, I was there for that, and I met him, and I when I saw him in person, I was like, how is this guy 205 pounds?
I have no idea. That guy, you think the guy's about 225. Just
Dude, his build, his genetics are ridiculous. And I held his hand to he's like a mitt. So I knew he was going to do well.
I interviewed him, and literally his right hand is bigger than his left, and that threw me off guard. But Greeny Susan Black says, Coach Ray versus a healthy Mika. What are your thoughts,
dude? Man, I got work to do, and let's talk about that a little bit. And it's interesting because, I just had a recent match with Artem, right?
Yeah.
And Artem, I faced Artem in Arizona in tournament, and I beat him at the tournament. But of course, you know how tournaments go. You never, right? Because you could have had wars that could have been fresh. But he has done so much work, and he's leveled up so much. He's taken his sport to the next level, and he came so strong in Olympia. The reason why I bring this up is because I believe that day Artem was stronger, but I also believe that I make so many tactical errors. I'm still a new arm wrestler.
Right.
The thing with my arm wrestling is I'm a right-handed dominant person, so my right hand is my ace.
Right.
But the thing is that right away I knew, okay, low hand, I had that one move that I just right away got a lot of success with.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just tactically, technically, even though that move, I kind of know what I want to get. I know what I want to do. It still was I don't know anything else. Does that make sense? So if it comes down to defending myself, if it comes down to me losing position, if it comes down to, what if you can't take somebody's hand? Or, what if you can't take, where do you want the match to go? What do you do then? Right. And because right hand, I came in so strong with my right, and I did well. It's kind of like a double-edged sword. It's great in a way that, you're killing it, but it's also not too good because you're not really developing the right necessary tools and skills in order to become a better arm wrestler. And I keep telling people this. I'm like, guys, I need to become a better arm wrestler. No, Mika, you're doing great. I'm telling you guys. And my left hand is weaker. Right. And with my left, I've learned more and more how to arm wrestle because I can't dominate people. I can't just flash pin people, matches get stopped, things like that. So looking at the Artem match, the way I lost that match, just that loss was so huge for me because I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many mistakes I made. I could have done this. I could have done that. I should have done that. I should have done this. Even my training, the way I'm training, I'm going to alter it because I'm part of Westside. You see I'm wearing their shirt.
Right.
Wrestling. Shout out to them. Kevin Arguello, he's a great guy. He hosts our arm wrestling practices. But the thing with my team is that sometimes when I'm one of the strongest on my team, right?
Yeah.
So I can't. So I'm mostly kind of holding center, whatever. And if I'm not getting ripped open, even though that's bad, but if I'm not getting super high challenge, Artem really hit me in a way that I was like, oh, I haven't gotten hit like that in a long time.
It's weird.
It's
His
weird.
angles are weird.
Jake,
It's weird, but it's smart on his part. Weird. I've been hit like that by him too. So I know what you mean by that. You know,
Derek, I'm trying to be as strong as a hair front. Bro,
that's one of two comments, and then Derek's other comment was, "Mika, you need to make it to practice."
And so so I'm leading to that. So because of my work, and of course I have family. You have family, Jody. You know, you have kids, right? So you know, I have one little kid, so I'm not even at that level, at your level. But during the week, making these practices are not easy for me because I work late. You know, I literally sometimes get off at 8 p.m. Right? So I leave my practice on Saturday, and Saturday I do all my practices, and then during the week sometimes I got a table finally. I started to do some of these lifts. By the way, shout out to 201 channel. It's Daniel Propocic and Tiberio Popa.
Yeah.
And picking their brain a little bit about lifting and how to do things. And so that's been helping me. But what I've decided, I was like, dude, I needed like Ole Mose, right? You know Ole Mose.
Oh yeah.
He's a monster.
And by the way, your link's in the description, by the way. So check him out. Everybody check out the link. Check out the link.
I appreciate it, Phil. Yeah, so Ole Mose, the Vazgen and his Armenians, they're so strong, and they pull at Mendy's gym where it all started. And that's Thursday. I'm like, you know what? I need to go there sometimes. I need to go there and get these stronger guys to just whoop my arm a little bit and for me to get into these positions so I can learn how to defend myself as well when I don't always take the A side or I don't always get what I want. Right. So I incorporate that into my training. And of course, the lifting has started because, you know, all my stuff that I was doing was mostly table time.
Right.
But incorporating more lifting, which I think is going to help.
I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with table time. Don't get me wrong. When I first started the sport back in 2011, that's all we did. You know, my team at the time, we pulled twice a week. So we were real savvy on the table. But when you get against somebody who's a lot stronger than you, you know, you can only do so much. I mean, at some point, you need strength at some point.
100%.
So as, you know, I got older, I got into the sport, but I'm old. I'll be 47 in a couple months. So as I got in, you know,
you look good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I knew I had to have strength behind me. You know, I got to have some of the strength because I sit there and the age-old question in sport, and you know, and everybody else in the chats knowing this. Okay, is it better to have more power or more technique? Well, it's good to have technique, but you need that power in order to perform that technique. Yeah. I've also learned that too. So
for sure,
and on that.
Yeah, and like what you say is very. I mean, I believe that too. I think that strength to back up what you're trying to do. At least when you have the knowledge of what you want to do, that's great too. But you have to back it up. And the thing is, for me, like what I'm learning now, I'm in a stage where I'm understanding that applying the right pressure in the right place versus a specific type of person. When you can't just overly dominate somebody, like let's say you go into a super match, like we're doing armors, right? You're gonna have a super match. First round, let's say you can't just flash pin. Let's say it doesn't happen. Okay, then I need to be able to be like, okay, I didn't get the flash pin. Here's where the match stopped. Here's where he was applying his pressure. What can I do now? What kind of pressure and adjustment can I make that is correct and tactically precise in order for me to have the best chance to win? I think that if we're close in strength, maybe 10%, 55%, I don't know exactly what the percentage is. I believe that if you know tactically what to do, it really could alter and change the match. And that's where I'm at in my, I guess, career, you can call it, in arm wrestling, is I want to identify exactly what I need to do in order for me to have a better chance in round two. The worst thing for me is like you lose and then you do the same shit. Excuse my French.
Yeah. No. Rated R show. We're good.
Yeah. So it's like I don't want to be that guy like, oh, it didn't work. I guess I'm just gonna, flop out. I want to be like, no, I want to try this, maybe pull inside. I want to try maybe a king's hook. So my left is definitely I'm learning all those things, and I'm definitely learning more positions because I'm not, for some reason, my left is, knock on wood, resilient, and I pulled in crazy positions.
You do?
Move, like I've pulled in all types of positions. I don't know. Maybe it's because my right, tennis, I guess.
Right.
Could be
there's some truth to what you're saying. I know because it's arm wars, which means you're going to pull 6 rounds no matter what. In my mind, I've watched that stuff over and over. I was able to pull 2 matches in my entire life with a 6-round format. And what I've known, because I was on both ends, I've won 5-1 and lost 6-0 on the other, so I know how that feels. But what I do understand is that you're going to find something out about your opponent very quickly. And normally, not all the time, but normally, match 1, you're going to get their fastball. So I was thinking in super matches, and tell me if you agree, everybody in the chat, especially Derek, tell me if you agree. I always thought super matches were like baseball pitchers. What I mean by that is that everybody has their go-to move. Everybody has their fastball, right? But if someone stops your fastball, do you have a curveball? Do you have a slider, a changeup? In other words, if you got a top roll and someone stops it, you better have some kind of hook or a press or a move or low hand or something else, because if you threw your fastball and they dominate that thing, you're done.
Yeah.
Then what happens, So, I mean, that may sound kind of weird. So if it didn't make sense, I apologize. But I just think that, you got to go into it thinking, okay, I got weapons in the arsenal. I got my forefinger, foul, whatever, But I don't know. I mean, do you understand what I'm trying to say, though?
I completely understand. I also think that when you have more, of course, we all have our strength ace move, and I think that we should, of course, go in with that and do the best we can with that. I also think that, it could happen that your ace move works, but till round 3.
Yeah.
What happened round 4? I mean, look at Coach Ray. Look how successful and Coach Ray to me is one of the most amazing pullers, because when I watch him pull, I'm like, I never count him out. I've seen him come back from a 3-0 tap so many times.
Right.
He won't go away. And if that's what I admire about Coach Ray, is that his ability and his tactical, he's very strong, obviously, but he also knows what to do and how to come back, and he never counts himself out. This is my aspiration. Like, when I watch Coach Ray arm wrestle, I get really inspired. He annoys me because he's so damn good, and I want to crush him. Just kidding, Coach Ray. But I'm just saying, like, when I watch him, it's like, wow, I wish this is what I want. That's what I want for myself. I don't want to be this one bullet, one and go. It's great. Listen, I'm lucky to have that ace. It's pop, also boom. But I also want to have the ability to defend myself when I need to, and to get myself out of situations where if I don't flash 3 times, what do I do now?
Right.
I can. I think I can, because my left hand, I can literally hold in a king's move. I've done king of the table for like 15 minutes straight. So it's possible for me. My endurance isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. It's pretty decent.
Right.
There's certain moves that I can do that I can hold position for a long time against strong dudes. Like, I've arm wrestled, like I said, Ole Moise, Tom Stubblebine, very strong, where I can kind of hold sometimes.
I've pulled both those guys before, and I've been on both ends. I've had victories on them, and they've got victories on me. So I know exactly what you mean by that. It's just it's a weird combination of styles,
Yeah.
Derek said a couple things. One, well, the first one Derek said I didn't highlight yet, but it was going back to where the technique and power. And he meant, hey, there's some Levon out technique Devin. And honestly, and then this is where Derek can probably help me more out about that one. It's more of, do I think Devin belongs up in the super heavyweights? I really don't. In my opinion, I don't think he does. Because when you're coming off the, and we'll go back to Wall, because I think it was Wall 2018 or whatever, or 2019.
Sure.
When Devin, after he pulled the finale versus Michael Todd, he ended up pulling Saplinkoff left-handed, lost 6-0. Okay, fine. Now he's taking a break, yada, yada, yada. Got some steam back because he pulled Michael, king of the table 1, pulled John, king of the table 1. Now he's got this momentum. He's rising up. He pulls Levon, and he lost 6-0. So it's kind of like, honestly, Derek, my opinion about that, I think Devin doesn't really belong in the super heavyweights. He can do it.
Yeah, he can do it.
You got to remember, he's getting older now. This ain't the Devin of 2012 where he could be in the super heavyweight and just destroy everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, he's getting older now. I think he had surgery on one of his limbs or something like that. I can't remember which one it was, but it's one of those things, But
after 08, I think his elbow,
right.
elbows, both elbows. I see what you're saying, and look, like, And this is one of the reasons why I love Devin so much, is because he always shoots for the best of the best. Sipping coffee, left-handed, was on the planet the most badass guy ever.
Yes.
And I think that, of course, there's so many reasons and excuses here and there, but I believe that if Devin and Sipikov had a match right-handed, that would have been a little bit more interesting. I think Devin could have done more than we think. Right. I also at Devin pulling Levon was, even though Levon looked very dominant and he did win 6-0, Levon said it himself that like Devin felt supreme strong. Like he felt really good. He almost kind of slowed him down a little bit, and then Devin made the adjustment. So to go back to Derek, he asked did Siplinkoff and Levon out technique Devin? I think that they were just too strong. I think they were just too strong. I don't think there's that can outmaneuver, tactically out technique Devin. So, and can he do the super heavyweights? Sure. Can he be the number one super heavy in the world constantly at his age? Very tough challenge. And Jody, isn't Devin really a 250 pounder anyway? Isn't he always just punch up?
I didn't like the version that he had when he bulked up to 82, 290 versus Michael Todd and King of Table 1. I didn't like that.
Yeah, he's always punching up for the best. Like the guy, Devin could be the best heavyweight of all time, and easily probably. And then it's like he's always punching up. It's like me, like I'm 200. It's if I'm going against like 230s, 240s. Yeah. So you gotta admire him for that. He's doing it. But yeah, I think he agreed himself. I think there's still some super heavy matches that he can completely pull off. But if we're talking about the elite crop of the crop, like Levin, yeah, I don't know.
Probably. Ooh, we have another question for Grease Susan Black. It says, what is Mika's kryptonite? The black elbow guys seem to press him with success. Can he handle a Coach Ray press in the Iron House?
It's a really good question. Yeah, I believe that a flop press, don't want to give anything away. I'm just kidding. Everybody already knows. But I believe that a very strong, full committed, like insane flop press is a bad day for a good top roller. I think most top rollers, that's a bad day. So I've been thinking about that, and I've been developing ways to stop that. But yeah, I believe a really good deadly flop press is very difficult to deal with, and that's why I've been asking some of the guys that have that to use that against me, so I can find different angles, different ways that I can stop it from the middle, from the center, taking them away from their shoulder. What can I do from the start different? Because with the guy that he's talking about, I set up low hand and I tried to take. I kind of made a mistake where I just took his hand, but the guy's giving me his hand. So why focus on that? He'll just slam me down. But yeah, I don't know, Jody. What do you think about that? What about you?
I think it depends on what kind of flop we're talking about. Because if I've seen some people rotating a flop where if I'm here and they come like this, shoulder behind, that's one thing. But if it's like a Jerry Catterway where his press comes at you, there's a difference between doing it this way and then doing it that way.
Right.
Or if it comes at you, now your arm is way out here, and now your hands outside of your shoulder and all that by point of offense, that's more depth defying. Where if somebody were to rotate like this, I'm able to kind of at least slide my elbow forward and get that height and then sweep through.
So you like defending it the post way,
right?
Interesting. Okay.
Because a hard post will stop. I mean, for a press, you have to be quick because it's moves where you can really you can promote. And everybody's like, oh, he's setting up for a press.
Okay.
Just the way the move is, you can telegraph that so well that it has to be quick. I mean, you see Michael Todd, he doesn't pull the same way right as he does left. Left, he's all going to be shoulder pressure. He's going to be hunched over like this. You'll never see Michael Todd like this on the right hand because he's going for his open top roll.
Right.
He ain't never close to the table, or he's never close to his opponent right-handed. He's always back, where left-handed, he's all like that, so you know what's coming.
Right.
So, in retrospect, Monster Factory, who did he pull? He pulled Pablo. Pablo knew what was coming because Michael kind of telegraphed it. So he sat there, positioned himself, and just kind of, load hard, and then he just kind of took it that way. You know, when Michael went like this, it kind of stopped him. So it depends on how the press is going. If it's a flop tour coming at you like Jerry, that might be a bad day. If it's more of a micro or a shoulder, he's just throwing his shoulder into it like this.
Right.
You could probably stop that with a high pressure post, but just put that elbow forward enough to where if you see where my hand is, if I slide my elbow forward, it's more to me now. So it kind of peels him out like that.
Mm-hmm.
That's just my experience with that. So
that's interesting. That's interesting.
Another question for you. It says, who wins the arm wrestling match, Jake Paul or Andrew Tate?
Tate would smash Jake in arm wrestling. It wouldn't even be close.
I mean, Jake's all WWE now. So is it Jake Paul? It's one of them that did some wrestling. Which one was it? I can't remember.
Jake.
Okay, yeah, it's one of them.
Jake. Oh, or actually, was it Jake or was it Logan? I don't know if Jake.
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know if Jake has a background in wrestling, but I know Tate obviously was a kickboxer, world champion kickboxer. But
right,
I don't know.
So there you go.
Yeah. Full-time
but
boxer.
Yeah, I mean, we got nothing but time as far. I mean, like I said, it's late March. We got nothing but time to go ahead and stay healthy. By the way, train hard, but just do it smart and stay healthy because.
Let me ask you this: How many days a week do you do table time?
I would like to do more. Lately, it's been once a week, every Saturday. But I think at the beginning of the calendar year, it's going to be twice.
You would like twice? Is that your optimal?
That'd be good because then some of the guys will come over like on a Tuesday morning because I work swing shift, so I'm at home in the morning. They'll stop by on a Tuesday morning for 45 minutes or an hour, which is fine. It's enough time.
Yeah,
and just kind of go through some scenarios. That's basically what we do at practice.
Mm-hmm.
With my team, go ahead. You're on your own as far as workouts and stuff.
Sure.
But when we come to my house, which is headquarters, then we kind of get together. Okay, this table we're going to be working on hook stuff. This table is going to be strap work. This table here is going to be working on all kind of other stuff. But we'll sit there and work on some things like, okay, if Mika, you were to come to my place, right? I'm thinking, all right, Mika, I want you to top roll me. We're going to go 10 matches. Nothing but top roll for you. Nothing but hook for me. I'm going to figure some stuff out that I can kind of stop your top roll. You're going to figure out some stuff to kind of bust me over, to open me up while I'm in the hook. And then after that, we're going to switch it around. I'm going to top roll. You're going to hook. That way we kind of know, because when we go to these big events, you got to be ready for anything, right?
Yeah. And
then, after that, we'll go, okay, how about some strap work? Okay, cool. Hey, first 10 matches, you get the buckle. Next 10 matches, I get the buckle, what have you. And then when we're all broken down, then we'll do some ready goes. You don't want to start, the whole practice with ready goes. You want to do that when everyone's broken down. So,
yeah, I think that me and my team definitely benefit doing that more often. I think that's a great idea, honestly, to incorporate that. Actually, not a lot of people talk about. I don't think I've watched too many videos on how people do table time. Could be an interesting topic. How each team kind of has their own ways of doing it. I believe that's the first time I've ever heard anybody say that, where they're like, okay, I'll do hooks, you do top rolls, and that table will do this and that. We'll reverse it, then we'll do straps. I think that's what would develop somebody like me, especially, who's more new in the sport, faster.
Because the last thing you want to do is go to an event where you got this deer in the headlights, like, oh crap, now the buck. And you know what? Some of these veteran guys are like real savvy. What I mean by that is that, let's just say, and it'll make sense. Let's just say you and I are pulling right-handed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. We're pulling right-handed. If for some reason the head ref is on this side, right? Yeah. I'm gonna make sure I don't slip. I'm gonna make sure I don't allow, because if I slip, guess what? The buckle's on my hand. So I'm gonna make sure everything. I'm not gonna allow you to slip. I'm not gonna slip. I'm gonna go ahead and try to just blast you through the pad. Now, same thing. We're gripped up again, and the head ref's on this side. I'm gonna try my best to slip because I know the buckle's gonna be on your side. So there is, people do things like that.
For sure.
I hope I didn't give away secrets, but it's just secret stuff. Some people do that kind of stuff. So that's just me.
It's important. Also, like when there's always a big topic about Devin and his tactics and his antics and da 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 da. And I'm like, guys, if someone knows more than me, like if I pull you, let's say Jody, right, and you know more than me, you have more experience than me, that should count for something. Yeah. It can just be like, okay, I'm gonna set up fairly perfectly for you. Here you go. You can take my hand, and then you. Like, it's just never. It's not reality. It's never gonna happen like that. I actually enjoy the fact that if I were to pull you and you out pull me, you out set up, you something that the ref doesn't see, I don't see, I can't notice, and you beat me. Let's say you beat me purely for that reason. Of course, there's many reasons. I would actually go back and be like, that dude got me. You know, he's like, dude, now I'm downloading that. I'm gonna use that. So personally, I love watching matches where it's not just like, okay, guys, like, you know, of course I love fair matches too. It's great, but at the same time, it gives the sport of arm wrestling so much more layers, so much more levels of difficulty where you have to have some IQ. You have to think about these things, and it does make a match interesting. For me, at least, I don't know how you feel about it.
Well, they say a lot of matches are won on the setup, right? So
exactly.
that can mean, you know, they say for a while it was, hey, when Travis is gripping up and he lets go and starts talking to the ref or the crowd, he's doing that for a reason. You know, you don't know it, but he's doing that for a reason.
Of course.
You know, when Devin's up there and he's doing his thing, he's trying to, you know, make you mentally say, F it, I want to pull. I'll do anything that you want. I just want to pull. You lost it, you know?
Yeah, and then it's up to the refs.
Do that, you know?
And then it's up to the refs. If they want to foul you, they foul you. But
right.
It is what it is. You push it. What player does Mika admire the most? What player does Mika admire the most style-wise? Who's he looking up to in 2023? What player do I admire the style-wise?
Yeah.
I mean, John Brzezinski.
If we all can have the hand he has and the thumb and the wrist, that'd be awesome.
It's so easy because you can do anything. He's like the best. That's a good question. What puller? I love all types of pullers, man. Like I love low hand top rollers like Mendagas, you know, Matt Mask. Of course, I love Devin. I love Gennady Kikinia. Like that guy's a monster. But honestly, I love a lot John Tyrion even. Like it doesn't matter for me. When I see somebody in their zone, it could be a hook war. It's fantastic when I see that. It could be a top roller trying to outdo a hooker, you know, or two top rollers going at it. I admire all styles. I think that all styles have their merit, and if I could do all the styles, I would. Like there isn't where I'd be like, oh, I don't really want to do that. That's not me. Like if I was a presser, if I had a Jerry Cat press, guess
all day. I mean,
all day just.
Now I will say this though, and I'm only speaking for me. I have a flop wrist press too, but I'm more effective in the strap than out of the strap. You know, if I'm out of the strap, I'm coming like this.
Sure.
Well, now my opponent can actually climb up and kind of get my fingers and bring it down.
Yeah.
Whereas if we're strapped together, it's a lot less chance for them to do that. You know, that's just my, you know, experience with it. I think everybody at the least should have two moves because one is your ace move. We all know what your ace move is, whatever that may be. Have that, but then you got to have a backup move because you know that works awesome in tournaments. But when you're talking 6 rounds, we're talking like, okay, they're gonna figure me out. But you know what though? On the flip side, I'm gonna figure them out also. Yeah, you know, because I always thought, you know, the odd number matches are the most important ones. Match 1, 3, 5. You know what I mean? Because those are the most important ones. Now, if we go 3-3, you know, not you and me, but if we go 3-3 at Arm Wars with that silver bullet, well, what number is that? That's a number 7. That's an odd number match. There we go. So, you know, it was one of those deals, you know, you have to be ready for anything, you know?
Yeah. And of course, like, I mean, just going back to that question, I mean, I love watching, like, when I think about it, I just love watching Todd Hutchings pull because it's so gnarly.
Right.
Just from nowhere. Bye.
if I had that kind of side pressure, that'd be awesome.
I'd be doing it all day.
So Connor Larkin says, Mika, what is your motivation to get better or get to the top?
Motivation? I don't know. I think that for me, I think it's a privilege that I'm able to do it. So for me, I'm super motivated for arm wrestling. I mean, I'm super motivated in general, but for arm wrestling, it's like, you know, I don't think of like, oh, I need to get some motivation. What is my motivation? It's just in there. It's just part of who I am now. So the 2023, I mean, look, my main thing is I want to be healthy and I want to pull smart and I want to pull tactically better. And I also want to train tactically better and improve the way I do things so that I sustain. I don't want to sustain another big injury. Look, it's part of the sport. It might happen again. It is what it is. But the way I sustained this one actually happened in a silly way. It's my fault. Because I was in a practice pull. I wasn't really warmed up. And there was this other gentleman. He didn't speak much English. He was very strong. I didn't know him, and we were setting up, and then he didn't understand that I was not warmed up yet, and he hit me into a hook. But silly me, of course, I should have just let it go. But for some weird reason, I just kind of held on into a hook.
Right.
And it happened. So, not blasting my arm too hard and in practice. I don't know, Jody, what do you think about this? Because do you go super, super hard in practice? And if you do go super hard, like, what does that mean to you? Like, what does that look like to you? Are you getting opened up negatively? Are you, what does that look like for you?
Funny you should ask that. And what I'm about to tell you, it's not like it's a big secret. This is what I do. I mean, you can, here's the thing. Before I answer that question, a lot of people need to understand when people ask me questions like that, I don't mind telling them it's not some kind of secret I got up my sleeve. It's nothing I just do that kind of stuff. I mean, look at Todd Zilli. He'll tell you exactly what he does, what he trains for, and you still can't beat him. That's just the way it is.
100%. Yeah.
So, to answer your question, going hard. I go hard. I practice all the time, but it's not just ready to go. I'm just smacking everybody because I used to do that.
Right.
With our team that first started, back in the early 2010s.
Yeah.
But we realized that, we're not getting any better. I'm not getting better by smacking you. You're not getting no better by smacking me. So, that kind of went away. And now we got these new group of people in our team now. And I told myself I want to, train a different way. So we go hard all the time, but I don't really hit in practice. I just kind of, if the stronger guy is there, let the other guy hit. Like I'm more like, I want to build my strength up.
Okay.
Yeah, I do the weights during the week. I get all that. But when I build my strength, let's just say it's you and I'm like, okay, I'm going to just hold you. You go ahead and go to town. I'm going to see if I can catch your hit. Because now I'm building my strength up, Okay, that didn't work. Let me go ahead and position my elbow maybe this way or maybe that way or maybe that way,
Totally.
And I'm trying different things, but I'm never hitting. Unless, okay, hey, do you want to already go? Okay, let's do that. If they agree to it, fine. Because I don't want to be that guy that's a dick and just, I do already go and they don't, because that's just stupid. That's how people get hurt, by the way. But, I'm thinking I'll tell them, like, let's do some ready goes. You hit, I'll catch. Because I want to be able to absorb those hits because I know it's coming, out of practice. So I'll do that. If, we put a strap on, just go ahead and go. I'll go ahead and catch. You go ahead. You go crazy. I'll see if I can catch it, then, I can grind from there. Way out here, I'll work my way back. If I can't catch it, then, hey, I can't catch it. And, for me, I don't give a rat's ass if I get pinned or not. I don't care because here's one of my theories. And, you tell me if it makes sense and everybody in the chat tell me if it makes sense. So my thing is like this. Look stupid in practice so you don't look stupid at the tournament. Now, I don't know if that makes sense or anything, but I realized that, hey, you know what? I don't care about getting pinned. No one cares about it. I don't. Right.
Sure.
But, it's one of those things where it's like, I'll train hard all the time. If I'm not sore after practice, then I didn't train hard enough.
Okay.
That's how I look at it, So
cool. Sometimes I think that also just hitting into like just like not all the way to the pad, but just letting people work here is good too. You can just. But it's interesting you say that. Yeah, that's kind of what we're doing too. We're no longer really hitting. When we first were going at it, it was just all over the place, bad positions, terrible. And then I was, at least, and then now I'm like more refined in what I'm doing. So, but anyway, I just want to stay healthy because look, at the end of the day, you may get strong. Let's say I train really hard. This is my opinion. Let's say I train really hard and I hit whatever, and maybe I do benefit from getting stronger that day, but I tore something and now I'm out for 3 months.
Right.
So it's a long game. So what am I going to do that's going to improve my strength? And I've actually speaking to Levon. I think this was last year. I got a chance to talk to him for a second. And one of the things he said was, and this is, I believe it's more for advanced people, but he's like, I don't touch the table that much now anymore, right? So he'll probably arm wrestle once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
He'll spend every day in the gym, right? Whereas for someone like me who still has to have a lot of technique and experience, in my opinion, for someone like me, I need to spend a lot of time on the table. And maybe it's not 100% every time, right? Maybe it's 100% one day of the week. And then for me, that's my plan. Like go really hard one day, and then the other days maybe work on setups, like you said. Maybe work on technical positions, starting points, things like that. But I don't know. But yeah.
Well, and we'll get to this question in a second. But one thing I want to add, let's just say, hey, let's work on that low hand top roll, Mika. So let's go ahead. I'm a lock up. We're going to get the strap. Okay, give me 50%. Okay,
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Now give me a 60. Then give me 75%.
That's
give
smart.
me 90%. Now give me 100%. Because that way that's how you slowly work into that. So you're not kind of just, balls to the walls and you want to tear anything. So
For sure.
that's how I kind of do the guys too. Hey, just, give me 50%. Okay. Now, get harder because I'm going to give you more attention. Okay, good. Now I'm going to give you more attention. You hit hard. And that's how you slowly kind of work into that. But the Smo had a question. Smo, sorry. I meant he was on the show earlier and he didn't know I was going live with you. So I apologize. But he goes, Mika, how did Artem feel compared to the Arizona tournament? I know it was a different circumstances and you appear to be much stronger than you were in Arizona.
Yeah. Look, the truth about Artem is that right before our tournament in Olympia, he gave me a call and he said, Mika, listen, I'm a rising champ. I'm killing everybody. I can't have you beat me. You just got to lay down.
Right.
No, he didn't say that. He didn't say that. I'm kidding. No, he felt insane. I'll tell you what, though, like if I'm going to be I want to be completely honest. In the tournament, when I pulled Artem, it felt easier than it should have. Mm-hmm. It just did. I was surprised. I was shocked. I was like, what is going on? So in my mind, I was like, okay, either Artem's really trashed or he's worrying about the super match. You know what I mean? Because he had the super match with Ray.
Both hands, by the way.
That's what I'm saying. So I was thinking like, okay, he's not showcasing everything here. Because he's probably tactically being smart about his super match. So I didn't really take that as like, oh, like this is the reality of where I'm at, where Artem is at on left-handed. But so that's just something that I always knew, and that's why I knew that when I offered, because I wanted to pull Artem in the Olympia, I knew it was going to be a big challenge. I knew it was going to be, for going in, I knew he was the favorite, but I still thought I had some kind of a chance to beat him, and if I did, it would be like amazing for me. Yeah. And when I went into that match with him, look, I came in prepared. I was ready to go. Unfortunately, like the beginning of the week, I didn't feel too good. I got a COVID test. It was negative. So I was cool. By Thursday, Friday, I felt good. And I was just like, it's fine. I'm going to pull. I don't want to dip out. This is an opportunity of a lifetime. I'm going to do it anyway. Right. When I went there and I did the top roll, and I did take his wrist, which I don't think Artem even cares about that much. He still can pull through. And I knew that. I knew that even in this position, that Artem can still win. Right. So I tried to turn him palm over. But it just didn't happen. But when that happened in that first setup, my original plan was, okay, I'm gonna hook. I'm gonna king's hook, because I've king's hooked very strong people, and I was able to slow down and stop certain people that are very strong, way stronger than me, like who can just normally beat me left-handed. So that was my original plan. But then I was like, I got some people talking. I was like, okay, what? You didn't set up the top roll probably because you went too low. Let's do high. And then I was like, okay, screw it. I'll do it again. Right. So I went really high. Same thing happened. And then the third round, I'm like, okay, I gotta start here. And if I take it, I'm gonna go into this. I have to do it.
Right.
And I did it, and I was able to absorb his first hit, and my elbow came off. And unfortunately, I fouled. And then on the second time, it happened again. And I ran out of my chances, and boom, of course he won. Mm-hmm. And then I talked to Artem, like, or I even like thought about, I was like, okay, even if I had done my king's move, even if I had played tactically perfectly, Artem probably still would have won. I mean, that's just in my view. It's like he was just that day, he was just stronger than me. He had a lot of power, and I just wasn't used to being ripped open that quick, because he doesn't start quick, but like once he starts his move, it's just like all high pressure all the way. So you have to really commit 100%.
Yeah, once he puts his foot on the pedal and it generates that.
So imagine here, right, Jody? And I'm like, oh, things are okay. And then from here to go to 0 to 100, and I didn't have enough time to, you know what I'm saying? So
right.
And of course, we did some afterpillow. He was always trash and stuff, but I tried the King's move on him, and it was okay. It was effective, but he was able to still do stuff with it. But yeah, I think Artem deserves it because he worked his ass off. I know after that Arizona tournament, he flipped a switch or something because he's been training hard and commitment and consistent, and he does a lot. Like he does the camera work, he does all the stuff for YouTube, so he's like fully involved.
Yeah.
So he's a better guy. So, but look, maybe next year we'll see.
Here's a comment by Derek, and this is why I like guys like him on the show, because a couple things. He goes, and this is going back to about training hard and stuff, and he goes, Alex Perdeka only pulls for real at an actual match. It's all about optimizing his gym lifts. What do you say about things like that?
Yeah, I think it's true. Yeah, I think for me it's the same. Honestly, on the table, I don't care. Like you said before, I agree with you. I can't get pinned all the time. I have zero ego in practice, like none, 0%. Like if me and my partner agree, like let's go hard, let's go at each other. Sure, I'll have fun with it, but I don't care about anything other than getting better. Right. I'm 37. I started the sport 3-4 years ago. I'm not 18. I want to get as good as possible, as fast as possible. And for me to do that, I don't care about losing. I don't care about that because I know that my growth in the sport is what I care about the most. So even like if I go to a new practice and I don't know anybody and there's 50 cameras out and I get pinned 50 times, I care 0%. 0%. Because when I go to the match, that's when I want to win.
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing, and it's funny you bring that up because what Derek was saying. There's some truth to that. What everybody said. There's truth to that because there's no one way to train, right? There's no one style in arm wrestling because if there is one way to train and one way to arm wrestle, we all be walking androids, and the biggest guy always wins. But there's different styles for different people. You got it's the quick top roll, the sucker punch, if you will. It's the power. I'm going to hold you and bring you down with power. It's the magician who has to sit there and do all the finger stuff. And there's always different kind of styles that that'll fit different people. Because I don't like this as far as my cup goes. Right-handed. This is as far as it goes.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's it.
I saw that. Yeah.
I don't have that Devin Lariat where his fingers can touch the inside.
Yeah, I
don't have that. I don't have that. So for me to sit there and kind of go, okay, maybe that move Devin had would have been a dominant back in that high hook. Maybe that doesn't work for me because I can only go like this. I can't get that cup. I have to push on my hand. I don't want to do that because it hurts. So I got to find, as far as my body mechanics, I got to find what's best for me. Yeah, I can sit there and watch John Brzezinski matches all goddamn day, but guess what? My thumb is not like his thumb.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, my cupping ability is not like his. So I can watch it, enjoy it, but I got to find what works best for me. So
I agree. Yeah.
For me, it's, my whole theory was always, I'm always hand dominant, right? So when I go against Uncle John, I'm hand dominant, but his hand's just a little bit bigger than mine. So I got to come up with some plan B and plan C. But, my theory, as far as this sport goes, and some people may or may not agree with it, but it's all right. Control the hand, control the match. Now, some people may agree. People like Tazilla may not agree because his theory, which I understand that too, he goes, you could bust my hand back, but eventually, if you want to win, you got to go that way. Got to go that way at some point, right? You're not winning coming all the way back because the pad is this way, right?
Yeah.
So whatever, if you want to be like that, then go that way. If you want to top roll, then go that way. If you want to press, then you got to go that way.
Right.
At the end of the day, some way, somehow, whether you're pulling right hand or left hand, it has to go this way. You just got to find out what position you want to secure your opponent in until you go those ways, if that makes any sense.
It does make sense. Yeah. I think that, I don't know, has Todd ever answered the question where if he had a choice but like if you could take someone's hand and do this, he can go that way a lot more effectively, right? So I think hand control is super huge, and I think unless you're pulling someone that's extremely unique and strong in those positions, like Toddzilla, that you're most likely going to have a successful time, right? If you take somebody's hand, you take away their power, things like that. But it's interesting you talk about that because again, one of the things that I do have to get better at is when I take someone's hand and they're still able to hold, and what I'm talking about, they bring you over. I mean, look at what Brandon Alessessor did with Craig Tullier.
Yeah.
That was bananas. I mean,
that 2 matches of the year, honestly, the two
that
matches
was,
that stick out in 2022 were Tullier Ocessor, Chafee, and Vitali. Those are the 2 matches that like really like wow, because it was just like, are you kidding me?
You're right.
Like, and then to have Brandon like out here, it's like going, okay, you got to know that's a lot of torque on that elbow.
So that's what I'm saying. So like when you take like your hand guy, I'm also mostly a hand guy. I'm mostly like try to take someone's hand, and sometimes what ends up happening is you take their hand and they're still able to access some of that side through their whatever shoulder, elbow. Mm-hmm. So then it becomes like, okay, once you take the hand, then get into a more dominant position with where you place your elbow, how you keep hitting them and burn them out and things like that. And I think that it's vital that I agree with you in a sense, which is like, yeah, hand control is super, super important. I think it's key. Take the center, but it's unfortunately it's not enough.
Right.
Sometimes this is not enough, right? Mostly it is, right? But sometimes you get that freak. It's like, I don't care. Boom. So
now, when I say hand strength, I don't mean just like crushing your opponent because
yeah.
Because and I'm a sucker for hand grippers, So if I squeeze a hand gripper all the way, look where my wrist is. It's backwards, right?
Right.
I just want to, now I flip them upside down while I'm kind of doing this now, right? If I just leave my hand loose, watch when I cup, bam.
Boom.
If I squeeze my hand, try to cup now, I can, but it's slower.
Totally.
Because using different muscles. So you can't cup or you can't, supinate as much with a squeezed fist. Whereas, if it's a little bit loose, it's just clamping. Not, I guess maybe I might have confused everybody. Controlling the hand, right? If I can control it, fine. But I still want to, be able to kind of move around in here, right? So if I'm gripping here and I'm controlling the backside of the hand with these bottom 3 fingers, I can still do this.
Right.
I don't want to make it seem like I'm just, squeeze as hard as you can and go that way. That doesn't always work.
I know what you're talking about. You just either your palm up. Have you had a match where you do take, let's say you crack someone's wrist back, you topple them, but you can't turn their palm up?
Then this is where I got to involve my shoulder. Because if I bust somebody like that, right?
Yeah.
And they're like this and I can't get them over, then obviously if I don't adjust or,
what
transition quickly, then I'm going to wear myself out.
What would be your
what now?
What would be your adjustment?
So let's just say I got my opponent, I crack him here. I got hand dominance, but I can't really do this because they're doing that, right? They're jamming their this part of their hand.
Yep.
They're jamming it up high where I can't move. If I keep doing this, I'm going to wear out. So this is where I go hard as I can, but keep the pressure and then rotate here.
Yeah.
Because now they got to go through my hand and my shoulder.
Yeah.
So now I'm kind of countering that, Yeah.
And
I can stay here all day. Just like if I did this, because see where my body is now?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're like that, they can stay here all day. Well, I'm going to put the ball in your court where I'm going to transition like that. Now I can stay here all day. It's almost like when and we'll go back to the silver bullet match between Vitali and Dave Chafee, right? Dave went here, he kept going, and Vitali was just like, I'm gonna do everything, but it was getting, he was open here, so obviously his hand and his shoulder are way out here, right? It's not a good thing because his hand is here, and Dave's about this far away from the pad. Like if our microphone was the pad, he's about that close from it, so he can actually like sit here, take a few breaths, keep going. Eventually, that's going to wear out.
Yeah,
that's what I saw.
That's what 100%. Every time I defended it in this position without adjusting or anything, eventually, it's not a good day.
Well, we'll take Michael Todd's King's move. you
Yeah.
know, what I've seen, and you know, I could be wrong, but this is what I've seen. When Michael's like this,
Mm-hmm.
it's pretty much, you know, you can pretty much beat Michael. But the minute he can be out here, but when he has this going on, that's
Yeah.
when it's hard to beat him.
Yeah, it's so hard.
When he
And
pronates that way, it's hard to
they
beat
turn
him.
over. Yeah.
Whereas if he's underneath like this, see, because
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, that's all bicep. And once I go ahead and pronate, you see my muscle, all the tension here goes, now it
Oh,
goes right up here now. You
yes.
know, and that's just some of the
Yeah.
any fragments I see in a match. You know, like I said, Michael Todd has that pronator going in the open top roll. It's like night and day, you know.
It's almost unpinnable when he's like that. Yeah, that's why they always talk. It's just getting him to do this is the most difficult and tricky part, and that's what everybody tries to figure out and do. Right?
I don't
That's what
know if this question is to you or me. I don't know who this question was for, but Arm Wrestling Center says, "How long you been on roids for?" I'm not sure who was that for, but I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm the poster boy for having a dad bod. So let's go ahead and get that out there.
I started steroids out of the womb because that's just how I was born, you know, and just juice me up, baby. No, I have actually never done. You know what's funny? It's an interesting question because I had some tennis injuries beforehand, and I even didn't want to do a cortisone shot.
Right.
I didn't even want to do a cortisone shot. I just didn't want anything messing with my system. So for me, I'm natty, and I want to be natural for the rest of my life. If I turn 65 and I get on TRT, I don't know. Who knows? But for me, it's like I want to take myself as far as I possibly can natural, just as far as I possibly can. And then, look, I'm having a good time. It's a privilege. It's fun. You know, jumping on for me, it's like I don't judge others who do what they want to do to win. I think that, you know, I respect their own decisions and their own health and their own thing and whatever they want to do. I do think that in competitions, if it's a natural competition, it's great. Like I would love that. Like if it was like, whoa, dude, you get like a super natty competition, super tested, everybody's like clean game, great. But I'm not going to sit here and complain about like, oh yeah, this guy's doing this, this guy's doing that. It's just part of the sport. It is what it is.
Right.
And you know, we just got to suck it up and deal with it and do what we can to do. And it is what it is. For me, it's like, okay.
I don't worry about that too much.
Yeah.
What really bothers me is when they lie about it. Like, you know, there's a bunch of people I know. There's a bunch of people that I'm friends with that actually do that kind of stuff. But guess what? Doesn't change my opinion about them. Not at all. You know, my journey's different, you know, but when they do that and then try to downplay like, oh no, I don't do that. I just do hard work. That's when it's like, okay, now you're pissing me off because now you're shitting on all the people who actually do the actual hard work. Yeah. You're kind of spitting in their face. I got more respect for people who say, yeah, I did this, I did that. I'm cool. I'm still friends with you. It doesn't change my opinion. Yeah. You know, that's just where I am with that. So
I know right now, currently, that's where I'm at too. Like I really, you know, some people might get really mad at this, but it doesn't bother me.
Right.
I know RVJ would be pissed at me saying that, right? Because RVJ is like super anti, and I understand his points, and I really do get it. Like, look, guys, like natty, it's better, it's health wise. You're gonna have people pushing each other to the limit and then hurting themselves, and you know, look what happened to all the, you know, we know the pullers that are doing too much. You know, how long will they survive? You know, like it's not good, but at the same time, it's like, look, they have their own free will, they have their own decisions and choices to make. To each their. So I'm not disrespect or not like an athlete because they've chosen to take a certain route. I'll be friends with them. I'll pull with them. I'll lose to them. I'll never say, oh, I lost to them because XYZ.
Well, here's the thing, and I'll throw some more good stuff at you. You still got to know how to arm wrestle. It's like, and I'll use another baseball theory. Sorry if I'm doing this, but
no, you
know, yes, you know, all Bonds, McGuire, Sosa, whatever, all those guys were juiced to the gills. But guess what? If you don't have the proper hand-eye coordination to hit the ball, it ain't gonna fucking matter. Yeah. So my point is that you can be juiced to the gills and arm wrestling, but if you don't know how to arm wrestle, it doesn't make a damn difference. It don't.
Hard. You have to work hard still. You have to work out. You have to keep going. Yeah, it's a supplementation. It doesn't make a bad arm wrestler good, but it'll make a really good arm wrestler better.
Right. Well, there's two ways to look at that, right? So one way, and these guys go, hey, you guys are juiced up. Fine, you beat me, but did you really beat me or did you get help? Right.
Right.
Or you could be with this crowd where they go, I just whooped his ass and he was still juiced up and I still cracked him. So it all depends on, what
Yeah.
side of the fence are you on? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
everyone's different. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and everyone's blessed differently too. Like like are we gonna try to make everybody equal, like perfectly? Like, okay, you have this long arm, you have this kind of bone density, you have, it's like everybody's got different advantages. For all we know, I'm natty, but I'm juiced up compared to another guy who's not as, let's say, genetically gifted. Let's say, right? So I don't know. For me, it's like, yeah, if you have a competition in the Olympics, right, or if you have a competition and they're announcing it, they're like, we only want natty pullers.
Mm-hmm.
We don't no kind of enhancement, nothing. And then you have a guy who enters and he's juiced to the gills. Okay, it might be a problem.
Right.
That might be an issue. But we know, dude, all these events, like, come on, people are just on stuff. It is what it is. And sometimes it's just to stay, even just, I don't know. I don't have too much knowledge about just steroids, but sometimes just people get like to stay healthy and repair and not get injured as much and train harder and more, right? So it's like, okay, that's another aspect of it too that nobody really talks about. They only talk about like, oh, you just inject a steroid in you and now you're really strong. And look, didn't John Brzezinski say like, okay, you can do all the steroids in the world, but unless like you have the development, years of training and years of work, and it's really not, it might not even help you. In fact, it might get you hurt.
Exactly. I mean,
so people out there, like, you guys need to like do your research and do your own thing, but like just understand, like, arm wrestling, there's no quick solution. Like you have to work hard. You have to have years in the sport. You have to develop the tendons. You have to develop the connections. Once you reach your natural peak, I understand. Like, I can understand a guy like, okay, I've been arm wrestling for like a decade, hard, consistently, and I'm like sixth in the world or whatever, and I want to be number one, and I think that I can maybe compromise my health this much, and then because I know the other guy's enhanced, and I want to have a fair chance. Okay, fine. You know what I mean? But yeah, so that's just how I think about it. I think that if we have a super natty tournament, like let's say in the Olympics, I don't know why the arm wrestling isn't in the Olympics. That's probably another subject for another time, but I don't know why. That would be
because I consider WAF Worlds the Olympics.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, because there ain't nobody getting paid. I mean, your country may be a sponsor you depending on what country you live in. But
Worlds is the Olympics for us. You're right. That is.
That's just my opinion. So
yeah, and I think, and so tournaments like that, that are, I guess they test not really hard, but I know that I think WAF tested it, Jody. I think they do some kind of.
Yeah, they do some kind of weird thing where I always thought that if you place top 3, hey, come see me. But there was a story that on my other podcast show I co-host with Ryan Espy. He went one year to Worlds, and the top 3 people were him, Marcio Barboza, and Andre Pushkar. And it was like, hey, Ryan tells the story great, but he said, I guess they were trying to pop Marcio, and he said, hey, they're about to go get don't take the middle cup or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, because I guess of the 3 cups, one of them was like, hey, go ahead and take a test. So they told Ryan not to take the middle cup, fine. And then they tried to tell Pushkar, but I guess he didn't understand it. He took the middle one anyway, and he turned up clean. But I guess from what he was trying to say, they're trying to get Marcio. But, be that as it may, as far as that goes, like I said, it's just, everyone's blessed with something.
Sure.
I don't have the John Brzezinski hand and wrist or Jeff Dave. I don't have the Derek Smith, Matt Mass, super long arm where I can really just screw with people. I don't have the long fingers like, Cobra Rhodes does. So there's always something that, you got to find out what that is. I don't have the super, cupping pronation that Devin has. So you got to find out what works best for you. Whatever that may be, lucky for me, I'm able, quick twitch, quick twitch. That's me. But I can only do that for so long. If I don't have any power or strength behind that quick twitch, then I'm going to be, forever in these tournaments. And I don't want to do that,
100%. Yeah, I agree. Overall, for sure. So you're going to Armors in March. Is there anything big that you're doing before that? Are you coming to, you're in, remind me of your state?
Oregon.
Yeah. Is there much happening? Are you just doing tournaments between now and March? Obviously, you're probably going to be competing and stuff.
I am not doing nothing
Gonna put,
because, like I said, this might, first of all, to get the opportunity to go to Manchester, England, right, for Arm Wars, I want to make sure, and like you said, earlier in the show, you said, "Hey, Neil, I want to make sure it'd be disrespectful of me to go to a event that you invited me to, and I'm not 100%."
yeah,
Because Arm Wars ain't that you just show up to. You got to actually be invited. So when you get invited, that to me, that's big. So I want to make sure they get the best version of me. So no, I don't plan on pulling any tournament before that. It's just hardcore training,
awesome,
and,
awesome.
and just feeling different hands, and I may go to another team training
Yeah,
facility within the
yeah, yeah.
state, because when you got different people, different styles, different
Yeah.
size hands, different lengths, maybe somebody might grip up with you and all of a sudden they give you this down pressure or up pressure or side pressure. I got to be ready for all that kind of stuff, so that way when I get to that table and it's me and Uncle John or whatever stud Neil has up his sleeve, then I got to be ready for that.
It's interesting you say that. I think, yeah, because for me, I'm thinking like, okay, it's in March, and I'm newer than you, and you're a better arm wrestler than me for sure. So like for me, it's like we're in the January. You're right.
Mhm.
It's actually not that far away, huh? It's really not. We got like maybe almost 3 months. I was
Yeah.
thinking maybe I'll do another tournament, just to turn up, get some more experience, and then I'll just train and just home,
Right.
just purely just get ready, get strong, stay healthy, stay fit. And I will be, like I said, I got plans to really turn it up. All I hope is by March, 100% both arms healthy, and I'll be ecstatic.
Yeah.
Ready.
I'm telling you, it's gonna be fun, man. I'm like, hey, because I've always wondered, how do they decide who's in whose corner? I've always wanted to know how that works out, But I'm
Yeah,
like, knowing that you're gonna be there, us
yeah.
West Coast guys, we gotta stick
I
together.
got you.
So rest assured, my friend, I'm gonna be there. Did he even like? I don't know if you can even talk about this, but when you got the offer, did
Mm-hmm.
he like mention anything about who you might be pulling?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, not yet. So I don't really know yet. I think it's in the works. So I have no clue, man.
Right. I mean,
Yeah.
and like I said, I'm
Jen,
prepared to because we're
Jen,
gonna be there for a week. So I'm
yeah.
prepared to pull like, hey, day one, you're pulling Uncle John and somebody else. Cool. Day two, you rest. Day three, hey, you're back on. Day
Yeah.
four, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It might be something like
Can
that.
you,
So
Jody, can you do that? Because I was thinking about that. I was like, man, I've pulled twice. I've done that once, and it was the worst arm wrestling pain ever. Like I pulled the tournament on Saturday or something like that, and I pulled on a Sunday, and I was on the ground for 30 minutes. It's like, that
I
was like,
actually I did do that.
yeah.
You remember last year, they had it was one of the Travis's events. They
Mm-hmm.
had the weirdo camera guy.
Yes, I
So, that was in
I do remember.
Texas, Waxahachie. So the weirdo camera guy was me, Artem, and some other guys too. And I
Yeah,
ended up taking second to Artem both hands. So I pulled like that. It was like a round robin. You had to get like 13 wins to win the whole thing. So
damn.
we're constantly pulling. And then the next day was the ROTN, and I pulled that
That,
too.
and you were good.
I was okay. I mean, I was fine. I knew,
Damn.
going into it is going to be like that. So I prepared myself just constant table time, table time, table time. Not
Yeah.
so much of the weights, but it was just like just getting my muscle memory, conditioning, getting ready for that. But doing that now after the ROTN, I was like, because that was so special. Because check this out. So there's only 3 weight classes, right?
Uh-huh.
So of course I'm in there with the 210 and over. So
Right.
guess who's in that class? It's Wayne Withers and Herman Stevens and Breida and freaking Chance Shaw and all those guys, right?
True, dude.
So, but here's the thing. So you got 25 guys in that class, right?
Yeah.
And they take the top 8, right? I went like 2 and 2. So I just missed the cut.
Woo.
They take those 8 guys, right? And we're in like the Waxahachie Convention Center. So we had the
Mhm.
whole thing. Those
Yeah.
8 guys that placed top 8, move them over across the hall. That's the money class now.
Okay.
So I already pulled, 4 times. Now the remaining 17 guys, they reshuffled and had a double elimination tournament. So
Bro, you
yeah.
pulled more than I pulled in 3 years.
Yes, I mean there was always that too, and I'm happy
Yeah.
to say, it was the trophy class. No, I didn't get a chance to, compete in the money class, but the trophy class, yeah, I took first place left hand. Happy to say that. And here's the thing: on paper, I beat Chance Shaw, but I didn't beat Chance Shaw.
No,
He was banged up. He's not known for his left. He was banged up. He kind of just laid down for me, but I was weary at first because, there was a time where I can't remember the guy's name, but he goes, "Hey, I'm kind of beat. I'm gonna just lay down." I'm thinking, all right. So I took it easy on him, and he flashed me to the pad. And I'm thinking, wow, really? You got to do all that? So I felt, okay, you know what? Here's the deal. Chance told me that. I'm thinking, okay, if he's fucking lying to me, I swear to God, So I geared up, and I went like that. I didn't feel any tension, and then I kind of went like that. He goes, "Yeah, I told you." I was like, "Oh shit, all right." So, he was all banged up, but on paper I beat him, but I didn't beat him. So I'm not gonna sit there and tell the whole world, "Hey, guess what? I beat Chance Shaw." I'm not gonna say that. That's stupid.
That's insane. That's a lot. I think that maybe now I can do that because I'm more conditioned to do it. But I can guarantee. I'll tell you this, man. Like when I first started arm wrestling more than once a week for me was nearly. It was just like insane. It was. It's not even normal pain. I'm not even talking about like, oh, it just hurts. It's all good. It was like deep toothache vibrations where I would just like on the ground, like telling my boy Ed, I was like, Ed, you gotta get me something, dude.
Right.
But that's what I was wondering about arm wrestling. I was like, 1 week we're in the house. Like, are we gonna pull every day? Like, what's the schedule like? So we'll figure out more as the time comes. So Neil will probably.
It's gonna be like a frat house. All of us are gonna be like, in his house and his different rooms.
It's gonna be so fun, dude.
We're gonna eat breakfast together. Probably go on a tour of a castle or some stuff. Dude. Yeah, I might be, sit up there at breakfast, drinking tea and eating cranberry scones, whatever. We'll figure something out. So
we're gonna have.
So I'm excited though because, like I said, it's a once in a lifetime thing. I got to make it count. Look at Uncle John. He's a fixture there now. He goes all the time now.
I think you're gonna do really well. Uncle John is strong. But I think you're gonna do pretty well. I obviously I like Uncle John. I think he's a good dude. I've been watching his YouTube channel and all that. But of course I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for the West Side. For USA, of course. Yeah, 100%. But I do think that it's gonna be a good match. And I think that you will pull that one out. But hey, train hard, show up, let's go. Right?
Yeah, I feel good because Washington State Championships. December 10th, that took place. Uncle John was there. Him and I were doing the play-by-play.
I saw that.
And after the event was done, my family had a booth over there, and we're kind of setting up camp, or actually picking up camp, about to go ahead and take off and get a bite to eat. Right. By this point, it's the after pool. Everyone's kind of on the table here and there, and I'm thinking, where the hell is John? And I'm thinking, damn, all right, I'll have to catch him, down the road someday. And as I'm getting stuff out, he pops through. I'm like going, dude, what's up, man? I need to feel what you got. He goes, all right. So we kick some people off the table, and we do some after pulling, and it's videos out there.
Is that how the match came about? Like, how did the whole thing happen? How did the whole setup happen?
We talked about this like last year.
Oh, it was already okay.
Yeah, we talked about this last year. Here's the funny part: on one of Uncle John's shows last year, I was commenting. It's weird because, like I said, I work swing shift, so I got my earbuds on, and I'm sitting up here, doing house chores. I'm like unload a dishwasher or whatever, and all of a sudden Neil makes a comment. Hey, Uncle John, do you think you can stop Chocolate Thunder's hit? And he said it. I stopped for a second. I went, oh, I mean, damn, he did say that. I'm thinking, okay, I'm thinking if Neil's saying that, he's thinking wheels are spinning. He's thinking about something. I'm like, cool, let's do this. I'm thinking, yeah, what do you think? Yeah. And all of a sudden, John and I have been talking back and forth for about a little over a year now. And I said, Neil, what do you think? He's like, at that time, Neil was like, I don't think it's a good match. I'm thinking, damn. So I'm thinking, well, it was worth a shot anyway. But, I think Uncle John and I talking, him being who he is and me being who I am, I think we can make some magic,
For sure.
Now, fast forward to the tournament that happened on the 10th. So we're there, and, we gripped up. And the first clip my buddy Donald Cruz filmed, he only got a minute of it. So he didn't get the first portion of it, which now that's already out there now. So
yeah.
So we get there, and I just want to, like I said, if you saw me pull, I never really hit until, I just engage. You go, oh, it's pretty good. I'm like, all right, he got a decent hit here. And okay, all right, let me go ahead and slip and get into the strap. And now let's see what's going on. He surged. I slowed him down. He surged again. I got this stubborn lock on the left.
Little sticking point.
I got this. He even said it's kind of annoying because if you watch the Washington State Championships, I had the super match left and right versus Clayton Faulkner of Canada. Now, Uncle John asked me after the match, and this is before him and I did our after pulling. He asked me, he goes, Mr. Thunder, who do you got your sights set on? I said, oh, Evan Begorin, Beer Man. Because prior to that, I was going to end up pulling him at Winter Blast up in Pennsylvania in March. Shocker, right?
Okay.
That's where I was going.
Right.
Now, Uncle John, is a man. His word is golden with Neil Pickup. So after him and I had did some after pulling, I was like, yeah, you kind of after pull somebody, you kind of look at them kind of going, there was something there. There was something there. So, I'm driving home the next day and Uncle John's at the airport. Aussie Arm Wrestler is live on the show. Uncle John chimes in while he's at the airport. And he was saying, he talked about his super matches and how he plays and things like that. And then he said, me and Jody pulled and it was awesome. And I think there may be something there. Well, Neil Pickup happened to be watching the show.
There you go.
Chimed in. Like I said, because Uncle John's been to Arm Wars, multiple times, so it's good to say that, when Uncle John says something, Neil's going to listen. So I'm thinking, all right, so I get home. I kid you not. I pull up. We're going to load in the car, and all of a sudden, I get a message. I'm looking, and it's a video chat. It's Uncle John. Hey, what's up, dude? What's going on? He goes, hey, I think it's a good shot that you and I will be going to Arm Wars. I'm like, how so? He goes, Neil saw it. He's impressed. He's going to make it happen. I'm like, I'll be damned. So
that's sick.
Where was all this coming from? He goes, I was on there with Aussie Arm Wrestler. I'm like, cool. Let me get on there. So I go, Aussie Arm Wrestler. I'm watching the show. I'm like, motherfucker here, or as Neil would say, mother fluffer. Right? I'm thinking, I'll be damned. He said, bucket's going to happen. I'm like, cool. That's all I need to know. So answer your question earlier, I ain't doing a damn thing but training for that because you never know. I might get one shot only. I don't know because you just never know. I mean,
but yeah, I think do well. I think it's going to be a good showing. I don't know if you're going to. Did Neil tell you if you're going to be pulling other matches? You just don't know yet.
I just don't know yet. I'm sure, I've never seen anybody go to Arm Wars and just pull one match and that's it.
Same.
Even when the newest edition of Arm Wars from last year, when they rebooted, SB, Kardeka, they pulled each other, but it was one was left, one was right. So, and then now they went from there to the Iron Horse or Iron House where they went to this house now. So now you're pulling multiple matches. They got this fatal four-way between some guys now. So,
they're four-way. Yeah, they usually do the four-way thing. You're pulling both hands, right? Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Perfect. Same. I have no idea what it is. I'm so excited.
Well, that's the thing. It's driving me crazy. It's like it'd be in a perfect world if Neil said you're pulling this person, but don't say nothing.
Yeah.
Cool. I mean, if he would have told me, hey, you're going to be pulling Uncle John and yada, 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 cool. Mika, you're pulling yada, 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 yada. Right. Guess what? I'm going to pull up some footage if I can find it. I'm going to study that shit like I'm a football coach.
Yeah.
That's exactly how that's going down. So I'm serious. I got all Uncle John's stuff, Arm Wars on YouTube. I'm watching it over and over and over again. So my fear, and I'm hoping he gets healthy because he's going to Arm Gods in Ireland on January 14th.
He'll be good. He'll be good. Yeah.
So, I mean, he'll be there. Cobra has a match. Alan Ford, Evan Burgoyne. So I guess me and Evan going to have to, do our stuff down the road sometime because I'm not going to go to Winter Blast, pull Beer Man, and come back and pull Uncle John. I don't want to do that. So,
Yeah, and dude, that's like right next door. It's in Dublin, right? Is it in Dublin? Is it in Ireland?
Yeah, I think so. Arm Gods, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where it is. Maybe we make a quick little stop.
That'd be awesome too. So I mean, yeah, it'd be kind of cool. So I'm looking forward to that, watching that. So
Yeah.
I just want everybody to be healthy. I want you to be healthy.
Me too.
And I guess there's supposed to be an announcement coming up in February from Neil about what's going down and stuff. So I'm just going to sit there and wait for that to unravel.
Can't wait, man. I can't
So,
wait, man.
yeah. Well, my friend, we've been on here about an hour and a half. What do you think?
Dude, when you hit me up, I was so honored. I mean, I really appreciate you inviting me, and it's such an honor and privilege. And I wish you all the best and all the luck in your training, and the happy new year. Not gonna probably see you until the next year, right? So happy new year, and wish you and your family well. And let's go kick some ass, dude.
That sounds like a plan to me. And my friend, look at that. Girl, like, yeah, I like that. Yeah, I like that. So, yes, Mika, my friend, thanks for joining me on the show. Have a happy new year, my friend. We'll keep in touch. And, if you want, I'll just message you. Hey, man, training's going good. How you doing? Just to kind of give you a bump here and there to kind of get you all fired up and stuff. And
for sure, dude.
It will be an honor to be in your corner. And let's go ahead and do some damage.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. We'll
talk
soon, dude.
Yes, sir. Guys, in the chat, thanks for watching the show. We appreciate that. You guys enjoy your New Year's, and we'll talk to y'all soon.
Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for tuning in. Ciao.
Yeah, take care.
All right, guys.